is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
After 2 years of relentless war in Gaza, a breakthrough that lasts, Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a Trump-brokered peace plan, a move that could finally pave the way for long-awaited calm in the region. And U.S. President Donald Trump is once again taking aim at left-wing groups, urging lawmakers to declare Antifa a foreign terrorist organization. He says it's time to fight what he calls left-wing terrorism head-on. In Brazil, a sea of supporters marched through the capital, Brasília, demanding amnesty for former President Jair Bolsonaro and his followers jailed over the January 8 riots. In Argentina, justice is served as a Buenos Aires court sentences 2 people over the failed assassination attempt on former President Cristina Kirchner. The verdict closes one of the country's most controversial political chapters. In Mexico, heated scenes inside Congress as lawmakers clashed during a session commemorating the Hamas attack anniversary. Tensions flared over how to honor victims on both sides of the conflict. And in Cebu, residents remain on edge after a massive sinkhole was discovered following last week's 6.9 magnitude earthquake. Fears grow that more ground collapses could occur as aftershocks continue to shake the area. I'm Jayne Codnita. Newsline World starts now. After 2 years of war in Gaza, Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a peace plan brokered by the Trump administration, marking the most significant breakthrough since the conflict began. Under the deal, both sides will pause fighting, release hostages and prisoners, and begin the withdrawal of Israeli troops to an agreed-upon line. United States President Donald Trump announced the agreement on social media, calling it a step toward a strong, durable, and everlasting peace. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hailed it as a great day for Israel, while Hamas confirmed that it had approved the initial phase, paving the way for the end of the war, the entry of humanitarian aid, and the exchange of detainees. The talks were finalized in Egypt, attended by Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff, son-in-law Jared Kushner, and regional mediators including Qatar's Prime Minister. Footage from Egypt shows Israeli and Hamas delegates shaking their hands, a rare moment of hope after years of bloodshed. The war, which began with Hamas's October 2023 attacks, has claimed tens of thousands of lives and left Gaza in ruins. World leaders and United Nations have welcomed the agreement, urging both sides to honor their commitments and continue toward a lasting peace. Lawmakers at the Mexican Chamber of Deputies clashed during a session commemorating the second anniversary of the Hamas attack on Israel as members debated how to honor victims on both sides of the conflict. Erica Rio for the report.
Tensions run high inside Mexico's Chamber of Deputies since Tuesday as lawmakers observed 2 minutes of silence, marking the second anniversary of the Hamas attack against Israel. Deputies from opposing parties argued over whether to honor only Israeli victims or also include Palestinians killed in the Gaza war.
Quiero pedir un minuto de silencio muy especial. Hoy se cumplen 2 años de las masacres, de los asesinatos en Palestina, 2 años de matanzas a niños, niñas. Por eso pido este minuto de silencio, pero acompañado también de una petición especial a la Jucopo, a la mesa directiva, que no permitan la instalación del grupo de amistad con Israel mientras siga asesinando niños, mujeres, hombres indefensos, y que el hambre se acabe y entonces sí platicamos para poder instalar mesas de amistad. No tenemos amistad con genocidas.
Deputy Margarita Zavala Gomez of the National Action Party requested a minute of silence for the Mexican citizens killed or kidnapped during the 2023 Hamas attack.
En efecto, un acto terrorista de Hamas quitó la vida de 1,219 ciudadanos de Israel, entre quienes estaban Orión Hernández, mexicano, y 251 israelíes se quedaron como rehenes, entre ellos Ilana, una mexicana.
Morena Deputy Lionel Godoy then called the ongoing Israeli military campaign in Gaza a genocide, demanding that Palestinian victims also be honored.
Y me parece que no se puede guardar un minuto de silencio solo por lo de Hamas. Se tiene que guardar por los 65,000 muertos, entre ellos más de 20,000 niños que han sido masacrados por el ejército israelí.
The debate quickly escalated into shouting, shoving, and physical confrontations between legislators. To diffuse tensions, President of the Board of Directors, Kenya Lopez Rabadana, called for two separate tributes.
Esta presidencia solicita amablemente podamos realizar 2 minutos de silencio por separado.
The session concluded with 1 minute of silence for Israeli and Mexican victims of the 2023 attack, and another for Palestinian civilians killed in Gaza. October 7 marks 2 years since the Hamas assault that left over 1,000 people dead in Israel and sparked the ongoing Gaza war, which has since claimed tens of thousands of lives, according to Palestinian authorities. Eric Carrillo, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
U.S. President Donald Trump is once again taking aim at Antifa, this time calling on lawmakers to label it a foreign terrorist organization. The move, he says, is part of his renewed campaign to fight what he calls left-wing terrorism. Valdivina Gracia tells us more.
I had the honor of asking you originally if you would designate Antifa a terror organization. And I stand here before you today, and I'm echoing what Andy said over here. Are you going to work with your administration, as the Secretary of State's here, are you going to work with your administration to designate it a foreign terror organization?
Well, has that been done? Pretty close, right? Would you like to see it done? Let's get it done. Marco, we'll take care of it.
The exchange took place during a roundtable at the White House, where President Trump met with cabinet officials, journalists, and conservative commentators to discuss what he called left-wing terrorism. Trump accused Antifa, short for anti-fascist, of spreading violence and chaos, saying the movement poses a serious threat of public safety. He said his administration is determined to shut it down. Officials compared the movement to criminal cartels and said the government would track its funding and supporters. Attorney General Pam Bondi pledged to take the organization apart brick by brick. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem even compared Antifa to international terror groups such as ISIS and Hezbollah. But experts say Antifa isn't an organization at all. It's a loose, leaderless movement opposing far-right extremism. Critics warn the administration's plan could threaten civil liberties since United States law doesn't allow domestic groups to be labeled as terrorist organizations. Trump ended the roundtable by praising independent journalists and taking aim at mainstream media before heading to another meeting on Middle East peace efforts. The Justice Department has yet to outline how it plans to enforce the president's directive or whether it's even legally possible. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Valdivina Gracia, SMNI News.
5 senators have declined to head the Blue Ribbon Committee following the resignation of Senator Ping Lacson as its chairman. This was confirmed by Senate President Tito Soto in an ambush interview at the Senate.
We are not discounting any of the 5 na pwede naming makausap na maging chairman ng Blue Ribbon. As a matter of fact, most of us, kung present lahat, they would like to appeal to Senator Lacson. But in the meantime, Senator Erwin Tulfo, being the vice chairman, automatically becomes the chairman right now. So he is the acting chairman.
According to Soto, none of the 5 senators he selected are willing to accept the position for now.
As As of now, acting chairman, si Senator Erwin. So, ibig sabihin, sir, and as soon as he comes back, we are going to conduct a Blue Ribbon meeting. Meeting muna.
Soto further explained that the senators are currently busy with their respective committees, which is why they declined to take on a new responsibility for the time being.
At the moment, ayaw. Ang sinasabi nila is very busy sila doon sa mga hearings nila eh. Halos lahat, 2-3 committee.
Pero
na hinahawakan nila na very, very important committee, major committees. So what they're saying is that they don't have time for it right now.
Eyes online rumors that Press Officer Claire Castro will replace Boying Remulla at the Department of Justice, stressing that the President's directive to the new ombudsman is clear: ensure transparency and accountability for all Filipinos. This report from Jayne Codnita.
On October 7, Malacanang announced the appointment of Boying Remulla as the country's new ombudsman. Following this, reports surfaced on several online platforms suggesting that Presidential Communications Undersecretary Claire Castro might be the next Secretary of the Department of Justice. However, during the palace briefing held on Wednesday, Castro herself denied this information.
Hindi po natin alam kung saan nagsimula yan. So, wala pong katotohanan niya.
When asked whether she would accept the position if it were offered to her by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., her response was,
hypothetical question. I cannot answer.
Meanwhile, the palace emphasized that the President's directive to Ombudsman Remulla is to perform his duties with a high level of transparency and accountability. According to Castro, it is Ombudsman Remulla's mandate to ensure that anyone responsible is held accountable, regardless of their status or position.
At ang pagtatrabaho po ng Ombudsman Remulla ay para sa buong bansa, hindi para sa iisang sektor o iisang panig lamang na grupo ng mga Pilipino.
When asked whether the President's directives include focusing on the investigation of Vice President Sara Duterte's statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth, as well as allegations concerning flood control projects,
kung ano po ang dapat na imbestigahan ay dapat pong imbestigahan. Hindi po dapat na may talikuran o kaya tulugan. Kung ano ang nararapat na malaman ng taong bayan, dapat po maimbestigahan ng Ombudsman.
Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Jayne Codnita, SMNI News.
After the break, in Brazil, a sea of supporters marched through the capital, Brasília, demanding amnesty for former President Jair Bolsonaro and his followers jailed over the January 8 riots. And in Argentina, justice is served as a Buenos Aires court sentences 2 people over the failed assassination attempt on former President Cristina Kirchner. The verdict closes one of the country's most controversial political chapters. Newsline World will be back after the break.
Sa bawat unos, may mga kamay na handang tumulong. Mabigat man ang pinagdaanan ng ating mga kababayan. Sa bawat pagsubok, mas mabigat at nag-uumapaw ang tulong at pag-asang hatid ng SMNI Foundation.
First time pa namin yan nakatanggap ng ganun kadami. Ang dami. Nahihirapan kami. Nakaya ko na rin yung balde, pati yung tubig. Opo, tapos yung bigas. Magaan ang pag-alsa ko dahil sa tuwa ko na natanggap ko yung ganun na masuporta sa amin.
First time, pinakamasaya po kami kasi halos nahirapan kami mag-alsa sa kabugat sa among dala. First time na mo nakadawat yung nani kadaghan. Wala yun mi nag-expect ngayon ato kadaghan. Grabe, kalipay sa among kasing-kasing.
Sobra-sobra po yung binigay ninyo ngayon sa amin, sir. Hirap kami sa pagkain, pero ngayon, sir, parang gidoble ng nakukuha namin mga pagkain. Sobra-sobra pa po.
Sa SMNI Foundation, ang inyong tulong ay tunay na ramdam mula sa puso para sa bayan. Ngayon, muli nating ipakita ang diwa ng bayanihan para sa mga kababayan nating naapektuhan ng lindol sa Cebu. Para sa mga nais magpaabot ng tulong, maaari pong magpadala ng donasyon sa GCash number na 0995-284-9117.
Maging alerto at handa tuwing may bagyo. Upang manatiling ligtas, narito ang ilang mahahalagang paalala. Manatili sa loob ng bahay. Iwasan ang paglabas, lalo na kung malakas ang ulan at hangin. Mag-imbak ng pagkain at malinis na tubig. Maghanda ng emergency kit. Manatiling updated sa lagay ng panahon. Maghanda ng mga flashlight at extra baterya. Panatilihing fully charged ang iyong cellphone. I-secure ang mahahalagang dokumento sa waterproof na lalagyan. Patayin ang kuryente, gas at tubig kung may banta ng pagbaha. Alamin ang iyong local emergency hotlines. Putulin o tapyasan ang mga sanga ng puno na maaaring mabuwal sa malakas na ulan at hangin. Lumikas agad kung inabisuhan ng mga otoridad. Maging ligtas at maging handa sa panahon ng kalamidad. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
A Buenos Aires court has sentenced Fernando Sabag Montiel and his ex-partner Brenda Uliarte to 10 and 8 years in prison for the 2022 assassination attempt on former Argentine President Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner. More on this with Almar Forzuelo.
The Federal Criminal Oral Court No. 6 in Buenos Aires delivered the long-awaited verdict on Wednesday, closing one of Argentina's most serious cases of political violence since the country's return to democracy. The court found Fernando Sabag Montiel guilty of attempted homicide and unified his sentence with a prior conviction for possession and distribution of child sexual abuse material. His total sentence amounts to 14 years in prison. His ex-partner Brenda Uliarte was sentenced to 8 years for her role in the failed attack outside Kirchner's Buenos Aires home in 2022. The court rejected motions for mental incapacity and aggravating factors related to gender-based violence or premeditation. Additional details of the verdict are expected on December 9. In September 2022, Sabag Montiel pointed the gun just centimeters from the Vice President Kirchner's face and pulled the trigger, but the weapon failed to fire, an event that shocked Argentina and reignited debates over political violence. Reporting for Newsline World, Almar Forzuelo, SMNI News.
In Syria's Latakia province, the Baluran Dam is experiencing a sharp drop in water levels this year. Officials and residents warn the situation is worsening, threatening water supplies, farming, and local livelihoods. Drone footage taken Wednesday shows receding waters and charred hillsides, scars left by this summer's wildfires. Limited rainfall has also taken a toll, drying up reservoirs and disrupting tourism across the region. A dam worker says the decline is dramatic, while a resident says the crisis is affecting everyday life.
سابقا السنوات المضت كانت المياه تغمر البرج هناك للمنسوب بالحد الكامل كله، بس هلا هالسنه هيدي كانت الامطار قليله جدا وما تعبى بالنسبه المطلوبه. صار في نسبه شيء 80% 90% انه نشفت المي يعني.
بالنسبه للامطار ولا السياحه ولا بالنسبه للسد ولا الاراضي اللي تضررت بالحرائق السنه، تضررنا كثير نحن والحرائق والاراضي حتى الاشجار الصغيره تاثرت يعني والكبيره تاثرت، احترقت الكبيره والصغيره تاثرت بالحرائق من وراء الشوب وقله المياه، يعني حتى بالنسبه للبشر خفت عليهم مي السنه. انه مثلا مي ما بعثوا لنا السنه مثل كل السنين، اقل اكيد كانت السنه الماضيه احسن بكثير عن السنه.
Local officials described the Baluran Dam as a lifeline for northern Latakia, supplying waters for farms, tourism, and thousands of households. The dam, located about 30 kilometers from Latakia City, can hold over 15 million cubic meters of water and irrigates more than 1,300 hectares of farmland. But with rain still scarce and summer temperatures rising, hopes for recovery remain uncertain. Supporters of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro took to the streets of Brasília on Tuesday, demanding amnesty for their leader and those jailed over the January 8, 2023 attacks on government buildings. This report. Thousands of activists marched toward the National Congress, waving flags and holding banners that read "Amnesty Now" and "Patriots, we're here for your freedom." Flavio Bolsonaro, son of the former president, joined the crowd and led supporters in singing the national anthem.
Assim como ele não baixou a cabeça, nós não vamos baixar a nossa cabeça. Cada vez que eu vou lá, por mais desanimado que eu esteja, por mais cansado que eu esteja, eu saio de lá convicto e cheio de energia para continuar lutando por esse Brasil, para continuar lutando por cada um de vocês, para continuar lutando pelos nossos filhos e pelos nossos netos.
Michelle Bolsonaro, the former First Lady, also addressed the crowd, calling for peace and urging the government to grant amnesty.
E hoje, somente a anistia para trazer paz ao nosso Brasil. Meus amados, nós continuaremos lutando.
The demonstration comes weeks after Jair Bolsonaro was sentenced to 27 years and 3 months in prison for allegedly leading a coup plot following his 2022 election defeat. Brazil's lower house has since fast-tracked legislation that could offer relief to his supporters. But President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has vowed to veto any amnesty bill. Authorities say they will continue to monitor pro-Bolsonaro mobilizations amid fears of a resurgence of political unrest in Brazil's capital. Taiwan has urged Japan to maintain its strong support for its entry into the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, reaffirming its sovereignty and independent foreign policy. Speaking at a press conference in Taipei, Taiwan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs or MOFA spokesperson Jeff Liu praised Japan as a like-minded partner that shares democratic values with Taiwan, citing growing cooperation in economic and trade fields.
TPP 成员国中，声援台湾力道最强劲的国家，欢迎台湾加入 CPTPP 也是日本政府的既定立场。我们期盼日本持续发挥强大的支持领导力，对台湾早日加入 CPTPP 给予更大的支持。
Liu also called for a bilateral trade agreement, emphasizing the ties between Taiwan and Japan have become increasingly strong through years of close collaboration. Meanwhile, Remus Huang, Director General of MOFA's Department of European Affairs, stressed that Taiwan independently conducts its foreign policy and diplomatic engagements.
我国为主权独立的国家，自主推动我国的外交政策。另外，我国外长的出访均经过相当时间的缜密作业，依据外交部工作的推动重点、双边关系等综合考量进行安排，与中方的出访行程无关。
Cebu residents remain on edge after a massive sinkhole was discovered following last week's 6.9 magnitude earthquake. Fears grow that more ground collapses could occur as aftershocks continue to shake the area. Newsline World will be back after the break.
Naglinog lang.
Sa gitna ng unos at pagsubok, narito ang SMNI Foundation, handang tumulong sa tawag ng pangangailangan. ating pagtulong ay higit sa salita. Bit-bit ng SMNI Foundation ang malasakit at pag-asa. Sa bawat ngiti at pasasalamat, ramdam ang tunay na diwa ng bayanihan. Kasama kayo sa bawat hakbang ng pagbabago. Maging kabalikat sa pagtulong, tulong na may malasakit sa kapwa nating Pilipino. Hatid ng SMNI Foundation ang tunay na serbisyo at malasakit para sa mga nais magpaabot ng tulong sa mga kababayan nating biktima ng lindol sa Cebu. Maaari ninyong ipadala ang inyong donasyon via GCash number +63 995 284 9117. Sa kabila ng mga mas modernong kaalaman at teknolohiya, nananatiling matindi ang banta ng HIV sa Pilipinas. Pero gaano nga ba kalala ang sitwasyon? Ang HIV o Human Immunodeficiency Virus ay isang sakit na sumisira sa immune system ng katawan. Ngunit tandaan, hindi ito nakukuha sa simpleng pakikisalamuha. Hindi mo agad mararamdaman, pero unti-unti nitong pinapahina ang katawan. At kapag hindi naagapan, humahantong ito sa AIDS, ang huling yugto na impeksyon, kung saan halos wala ng panlaban ng katawan laban sa sakit. Patuloy na dumadami ang kaso ng sakit na ito sa Pilipinas. Isang nakababahalang pagtaas. Umabot na sa 500% ang itinaas ng HIV cases sa mga kabataang edad 15 hanggang 25. Ayon mismo sa Department of Health, 56 na bagong kaso ang naitatala kada araw sa bansa mula Enero hanggang Marso 2025. At ang pinakamatinding apektado, ang kalalakihan at kabataang Pilipino. Dahil dito, ang Pilipinas na ngayon ang may pinakamataas na bilang ng bagong kaso ng HIV sa buong Western Pacific region. Isang indikasyon ng lumulubahang sitwasyon. Kaya nananawagan ng Department of Health gawing opisyal at urgent ang laban sa HIV sa pamamagitan ng isang Public Health Emergency Declaration. Kalalakihan ng pangunahing apektado, 95% ng bagong kaso ay lalaki. Mahigit 1/4 ay kabataang nasa edad 15 hanggang 24. Habang wala pang deklarasyon, patuloy ang DOH sa mga sumusunod na hakbang: HIV testing, libreng gamot, self-test kits, at pakikipagtulungan sa DepEd para sa edukasyon sa mga paaralan. Isinulong rin ng DOH ang online patient appointment system para sa HIV patients. Layunin nitong gawing mas madali at mas personal ang pag-access sa libreng gamutan at konsultasyon. Ayon sa schedule ng pasyente, ang HIV ay hindi tulad ng flu. Hindi ito basta naipapasa sa hangin. Ito ay naipapasa sa pamamagitan ng personal na desisyon. Kailangan din nating pagtuunan ng pansin ang ugali, disiplina, at personal na responsibilidad. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
Once a quiet coastal town, Tabogon in northern Cebu is now a picture of ruin. Homes, schools, and even churches have been reduced to rubble, leaving most residents homeless and fearful of returning indoors. Franco Baranda reports from Tabogon Port, Cebu.
Here in Tabogon, Cebu, you'll hardly see residents staying inside their homes. Strong aftershocks continued to shake the area, prompting many to remain outdoors out of fear that another quake might strike. On September 30, a 6.9 magnitude earthquake shook the entire northern part of Cebu, prompting officials to declare Tabogon a high-risk zone. Countless homes and buildings collapsed during the powerful quake, sparing not even the town's church. Tabogon ranks second among the municipalities that suffered the most severe damage. More than 700 houses have been reported totally damaged, while over 8,000 others were partially damaged. But it wasn't just homes that the earthquake destroyed. Gyms, playgrounds, schools from elementary to high school, churches, and even the popular tourist spot at Tabogon Port were all left in ruins. What was once a bustling destination for tourists and locals is now off limits due to the danger of landslides and the possibility of the ground completely sinking.
Ito sir, port sir is mga dati may dumadaong dito na mga LCT sir, yung cargo vessel na may dalang mga buhangin, but nung 2022 sir wala na. Minsan sir may dumadaong dyan mga fishing boat, pero bihira lang sir, yung nagre-resupply lang sila na mamalingke. Tapos ang kuhan talaga nito sir is pasyalan talaga siya sir, maraming nagfi-fishing, nagpi-picnic. So ganyan talaga sir, bago mangyari yung ano sir, yung lindol, maraming nagfi-fishing diyan sir, nagka-casting, fishing, nagpi-picnic, kumakain. Lalo na weekend sir, maraming tao talaga diyan sir.
Dito ay makikita natin kung gaano katinding pinsala ang inabot ng port. Dahil sa aking likuran ay ito yung daungan na dati ay pantay ang lupa na ito. Pantay itong konkretong daanan na ito, pero ngayon ay lumubog at nagkabitak-bitak, kung saan makikita natin dito rin sa lugar na ito kung gaano katindi ang naganap na lindol dito mismo sa lugar na ito. Dati-rati ito'y pasyalan, pero ngayon ay ipinagbabawal na at hindi pa natin alam kung gaano katagal aabutin ang pagsasaayos ng port na ito. What was once a popular place for locals to relax and visit is now off limits, and it remains uncertain how long it will take before the port can be restored. Based on the information we gathered, many of the houses and infrastructures in Tabogon damaged by the earthquake have deep cracks and are no longer safe to live. Among them are school buildings in Cal'anan with third floors that have been heavily damaged, as well as several churches that may no longer be repaired unless completely demolished. But the biggest concern now is how long will the aftershocks continue? This tremors keeps weakening homes and fueling fear among the residents of Tabogon, Cebu. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Franco Baranda, SMNI News.
Fear still grips residents of San Remigio, Cebu after last week's powerful 6.9 magnitude earthquake. In Barangay Manyo, a massive cave-like sinkhole has emerged so deep and wide that locals now fear their very homes could be swallowed by the ground with the next tremor. Sheena Turner reports.
This is how the 6.9 magnitude earthquake destroyed the homes and livelihoods of residents in the northern part of Cebu. In just a matter of seconds, the houses they had worked hard for were gone, reduced to ruins and left uninhabitable. But beyond the damage to their homes, what's more frightening are the marks left by nature itself. Reminders that continue to bring fear and uncertainty to the residents up to this day.
Grabe, bangag. A loud rumbling echoed through the area, and residents outside their homes even managed to capture it on video, just moments after the powerful quake struck the north. And in the midst of fear, this is what greeted them: a massive gaping hole in the ground.
Ganito katindi ang iniwang pinsala ng 6.9 magnitude na lindol dito sa sitio Sansan, Barangay Manyo, San Remigio sa probinsya po yan ng Cebu. Ayon sa mga nakapanayam nating residente, aabot sa 35 feet ang lalim o sinkhole na nadiskubre at na sinasabing na pinakamalaking sinkhole sa buong norte at nanganganib dyan ang isang bahay na pagmamayari ng isang magsasaka.
Suka sa akong pagkabata, haraw pa rin matabo. Daghan linog ang mga agian. Pero hinay, kinakusgan. Mag-uol mo eh. Kaya maungkag ng pagpuyo. Konkrete ko ang mumbayon ta.
Fortunately, the earthquake only left cracks and did not cause the home of a farmer, Marcelino, to collapse. He is deeply thankful that no tragedy occurred, especially since he was inside his room when tremors struck. Resident Andres, on the other hand, witnessed the ground split open right before his eyes. Since then, he has remained on high alert every time aftershocks are felt.
Kami kuya wag ako, pasalamat din ko nga wag mapil kong payag kulbay kayo nung basog lang ko ba nga. Basin sa matabo. Salamat ko nga nadto pa dito.
Meanwhile, Margarita was left traumatized by the powerful earthquake.
Kahadlok, kabalaka. Di na ko katug so kada tong pag first time paghitabo na tong di na ko katug ma'am unsan ko piyo. Narami sa gawas di na may manood sa among balay kay mahadlok na lagi ko murag na trauma jud ko anima. Kay nagkurog jud ko ang tukaron.
Kana every aftershock.
However, it turns out that not just one sinkhole was discovered in Barangay Manyo, San Remigio. Based on the data from the Cebu Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, as of October 7, the number of sinkholes has already reached 5. What most alarming is the newly discovered sinkhole, which residents say is a cave-like in size beneath the ground.
Una, pagtingin namin, maliit pa lang to, parang planggana pa lang siya, kasing laki ng planggana. Ngayon, mga ilang araw na lumipas, mas lalong lumaki na siya.
At tapos, yung na-discover nyo,
parang ano siya, malalim talaga. Parang kuiba siya, nga tunnel ba? O lumaki, malawak ang ilalim. Yung butas, maliit pero malawak ang ilalim.
Israel fears that in the coming days or with the next tremor, their very home might be swallowed by the ground.
Nakabahan talaga kami ma'am. Doon kami natutulog din sa malalayo o doon na kami sa kalsada, sa itaas.
For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Sheena Torno, SMNI News.
Malacanang Palace has downplayed concerns over the rise in inflation for the second straight month, citing that the 1.7% rate recorded in September 2025 remains comfortably within the government's 2 to 4% target for the year. The Philippine Statistics Authority reported that the increase was mainly driven by higher transportation and food costs, particularly vegetables affected by recent typhoons. Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro, citing Department of Economy, Planning and Development or DepDev Secretary Arsenio Balisacan, emphasized that the rise is gradual and not alarming. Special Assistant to the President for Investment and Economic Affairs Frederick Go echoed the sentiment, saying the uptick poses no immediate concern for the administration. September's inflation is slightly lower year-on-year compared to the 1.9% rate in September 2024. And for our sports update, defending champion Arina Sabalenka battled back from a slow start to stay unbeaten in Wuhan, advancing to the round of 16. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City Thunder guard Alex Caruso says His hunger to win keeps growing as he eyes a third NBA championship ring. Carlo De La Peña reports.
World number 1 Sabalenka overcame early struggles to post a 4-6, 6-3, 6-1 victory, extending her unbeaten streak in Wuhan to 18 matches. The Belarusian, who recently captured her 4th Grand Slam title at the US Open, admitted it took time to regain her rhythm after a short break. Sabalenka will next face 16th seed Lyudmila Samsonova of Russia as she aims for a 4th consecutive Wuhan title. In other results, Japan's Naomi Osaka was ousted by Czech rising star Linda Noskova 7-6, 6-3, while 3rd seed Coco Gauff breezed past Japanese qualifier Moyuka Ochijima 6-1, 6-0 to reach the last 16. Meanwhile, world number 6 Jessica Pegula endured a grueling 3-hour battle before overcoming fellow American Hailey Baptiste 6-4, 4-6, 7-6. Pegula needed 7 match points to close out the match after twice serving for victory in the deciding set. She called the contest a wild ride, praising her composure under pressure. Pegula advances to face 9th seed Ekaterina Alexandrova of Russia in the 3rd round. The hot Wuhan weather continued to take its toll as 12th seed Karolina Mochova retired mid-match due to heat exhaustion, joining several other players who withdrew earlier this week. Meanwhile, coming off their first ever championship, the Thunder will enter the new season with nearly the same young lineup led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren. The group now sets its sights on becoming back-to-back champions, a feat last achieved by the Golden State Warriors in 2018. Caruso, a 2-time NBA champion, is embracing his leadership role as the only player on the roster with experience on a defending title team. His championship mindset and defensive presence are expected to play a key role in Oklahoma City's pursuit of a repeat. Known for his relentless drive and winning mentality, Caruso remains focused on adding another ring to his collection as the Thunder aim to build a new NBA dynasty. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Carlo De La Peña bringing you the latest sports news.
Coming up, back home here in the Philippines, SMNI Foundation Incorporated continues to stand with Filipinos in times of crisis. The relief operations have reached earthquake-stricken communities in Cebu, bringing aid and hope to hundreds of families affected by the disaster. Newsline World will return.
The SMNI Foundation Incorporated has just arrived in Cebu to bring relief to families affected by the recent 6.9 magnitude earthquake. Through the generosity of our sponsors and donors who have long been committed to helping our fellow Filipinos through the SMNI Foundation, this mission of compassion becomes possible once again. Some may choose to remain anonymous, yet their kindness continues to reach those in need. We will have a series of relief operations for those who wish to extend help to the earthquake victims in Cebu. You may send your donations via GCash at +63 995 284 9117. On behalf of our beneficiaries, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to all of you.
Sa panahon ng tagulan, hindi lang baha at ulan ang dapat bantayan, kundi pati na rin ang mga sakit na pwedeng makahawa. At dahil ngayon ay rainy season, nagbabala ang Department of Health laban sa tinatawag na wild diseases. 4 na klase ng sakit na karaniwang nakukuha ng tao tuwing maulan. Ito ang W o waterborne diseases gaya ng pagdudumi o gastroenteritis. I o influenza-like illnesses gaya ng sipon, ubo at lagnat. L o leptospirosis na maaaring makuha mula sa ihi ng mga daga sa baha. At D o dengue na dala ng mga lamok. Kapag baha, Mas mabilis kumalat ang mikrobyo, kaya't ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at agad maligo matapos lumusong sa baha. Ano ang dapat gawin para maiwasan ng wild diseases? Tumutok sa weather updates. Magsuot ng kapote at bota. Siguraduhing malinis ang iniinom na tubig. Agad kumonsulta sa health center kung may nararamdamang sintomas. Mainam din gawin ng 40 o taob, taktak, tuyo at takip para maiwasan ng dengue sa bahay at komunidad. Maglinis, magmasid, mag-ingat. Labanan ng wild diseases ngayong tag-ulan. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
Isang pindot lang, pwede kang maka-jackpot. Mukhang masaya at easy money lang. Sa murang halaga, pwede ka na tumaya sa online gambling at e-casino apps. Mayroong sabong, slot machines, mahjong, poker at iba pa. Kailangan mo lang ng smartphone, e-wallet at internet. Pero ang aliw na ito, unti-unting nagiging bitag para sa mga Pilipino. Lalo na kung ang paborito mong artista o influencer ang mukha ng app. Mas madaling makaengganyo, diba? Parang safe naman kasi may kilalang mukha. Pero sa likod ng ngiti, sugal pa rin ang itinutulak. At syempre, mas madali ring itago ang pagkalulong sa bisyong ito. Walang pisikal na kasino o pasugalan, walang kaharap, walang accountability, kaya't mas lumalala ang adiksyon. Dagdag pa rito, maraming online gambling apps at walang regulasyon. Sa likod ng mga makukulay na interface at papremyo, nakatago ang problemang bumabalot ngayon sa bansa. Ang pagkalulong ng maraming Pilipino sa online gambling. Pwede maglaro kahit saan, kahit kailan, kahit sino, bata man o matanda, pwedeng malulong. Ayon sa mga eksperto, ang pagkakalulong sa online gambling ay nagdudulot ng matinding stress at anxiety, pagkakabaon sa utang, pagkawasak ng pamilya, pagkawala ng tiwala sa sarili. At tulad ng ibang bisyo, may mga senyales ito tulad ng hindi makapagpigil kahit walang pera, palihim na tumataya, pagpapabaya sa trabaho, pamilya o sarili. Sa bawat taya, may mga taong tunay na kumikita, mga malalaking negosyante at investors na negosyo ang bisyo ng masa. Para sa kanila, perang pumapasok lang ito. Pero para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, kabuhayan at relasyon ang nauubos. At ang masakit, tila matagal itong nahayaan. Hindi ito naging prioridad ng mga nakaupo sa taas hanggang sa sobrang lumala at halos naapektuhan na ang buong komunidad. Ngayon, sa dami ng nalulong at sa laki ng pinsalang naidulot, sa kapalalong umugong ang mga panukalang batas para higpitan ng online gambling, gaya ng pagbabawal sa paggamit ng e-wallets para tumaya, pagtaas ng minimum bet, mas mahigpit na identity verification, pag-block ng mga illegal na gambling sites, at bawasan o ipagbawal ang mga ads na target ang kabataan. Maaari itong magmukhang laro lang, pero sa katotohanan, isa itong sugal sa kinabukasan. Ang kita na dapat sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan o ipon na uubos sa sugal. At sa mundo ng online gambling, mas madali kang matalo kaysa manalo. Huwag hayaang sugal ang magdikta sa iyong buhay. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
Days after a devastating 6.9 magnitude earthquake shook Cebu, the SMNI Foundation Inc has stepped up, sending busloads of relief goods to help families rebuild and recover. More on this story with Jason Rubrico.
The SMNI Foundation buses traveled all the way from Metro Manila to Cebu province, bringing food, water, and other essential supplies for those affected in the Anbantayan, San Remigio, Medellin, and other areas heavily hit by the earthquake. Upon the bus's arrival, the Foundation's volunteers, young and old alike, immediately went to work packing grocery relief goods. Each bucket filled with canned goods, noodles, condiments, and other essentials serves as a symbol of hope for families now facing the challenge of rebuilding their lives. While some volunteers were busy repacking goods, truckloads of rice continued to arrive, ready to be distributed to affected families. These are just some of the aid efforts the Foundation worked hard to deliver, ensuring that every household has food on the table amid these difficult times. The need for clean drinking water was also not forgotten. Thousands of gallons of purified water are being prepared for delivery to areas that still struggle to access a safe water supply. At the SMNI Foundation's community kitchen, volunteers continue to cook warm meals for evacuees around the clock. Our sincere gratitude goes to the generous sponsors and donors who through the years have remained steadfast in helping our fellow Filipinos through the SMNI Foundation Incorporated. Many prefer to stay anonymous, yet their kindness and generosity never cease to uplift those in need. Amid the devastation, the spirit of Bayanihan lives on, and with the help of the SMNI Foundation, the people of Cebu are slowly rising and rebuilding their lives once again. Reporting for Newsline World, I am Jason Rubrico, SMNI News.
Millions in taxes allegedly unpaid, billions at stake. The Philippines Bureau of Internal Revenue has filed multiple complaints against contractor couple Sara and Curly Discaya, whose reported tax liabilities now top 7 billion pesos. The case has reached the Department of Justice as authorities continue probing alleged irregularities in flood control projects, with key witnesses now cooperating. Margot Gonzalez has more.
Based on the investigation conducted by the Bureau of Internal Revenue or BIR, contractor couple Sara and Curly Discaya allegedly failed to pay the correct taxes from 2018 to 2021 despite their companies earning substantial income and securing major contracts. The couple also reportedly did not pay the required excise taxes for their 9 luxury vehicles. Because of this, the BIR has filed multiple tax evasion complaints with the Department of Justice or DOJ against the Discaya couple, along with batches of documents submitted as evidence. Also implicated in the tax evasion complaints is a corporate officer of St. George Construction. According to the BIR, the couple's total tax liability has reached more than 7.1 billion pesos. The investigation further revealed that there were no records of documentary stamp tax payments to support the couple's alleged divestment from their companies. The BIR said it's continuing its audit of other companies owned by the Discayas for the possible filing of additional charges.
Nagulat tayo na ganito kalaki ang tax liabilities nito at hindi pa tayo tapos dito. Nagsisimula pa lang tayo, yung mga iba pang construction companies ng spouses Discaya patuloy pa ang pag-audit. Again, ang nandito pa lang yung individual liabilities nila and St. Gerard ang itong sinampa natin at patuloy pa ang pag-audit natin sa mga iba't iba pang korporasyon na mention sa mga flood control projects.
The lawyer of the Discayas had no comment on the other hand of the complaint filed by the BIR against his clients.
Hindi pa namin nababasa yung complaint ng BIR, so no comment po na.
Prior to this, the Discaya couple had already been charged before the Office of the Ombudsman. Meanwhile, their lawyer revealed that they have filed a petition for habeas corpus in court, seeking the release of Curly Discaya from the custody of the Senate. This came after the suspension of the Blue Ribbon Committee hearings and the vacancy of the chairmanship following the resignation of Senator Ping Lacson.
That the Blue Ribbon Committee will explain his prolonged detention from the Senate detention facility, kung legal pa ba o hindi. Uncertain yung namin yung client namin kung kailan siya palalayain or di ba? So that's the best way is to file a petition for the issuance of writ of habeas corpus.
Sir, yung condition po ni Mr. Discaya doon po sa Senate ngayon, considering na yun na nga, nasa limbo pa yung investigation, hindi pa alam anong mangyayari, sinong mamumuno.
Kaya nga, yan ang naging daan para mag-file kami ng habeas corpus.
Sir, confident po kayo nakakatigan yung habeas corpus?
Sana.
Gaano po?
Bibilig naman sa judicial system.
Curly Discaya has also requested a 7-day furlough to secure necessary documents in case the investigation resumes this October. He again appeared at the Department of Justice for the ongoing case evaluation, as he is being considered as protected witness of the agency. His wife Sara Discaya was unable to attend, reportedly due to illness. Their lawyer declined to give any updates regarding their cooperation with the DOJ. Also present at the DOJ were other protected witnesses, former DPWH District Engineer Henry Alcantara, Bryce Hernandez, and JP Mendoza. According to his lawyer, Hernandez has already made a tell-all disclosure of everything he knows before the DOJ.
Ang iniharap po natin sa kanila. Anong sir nilalaman na bago po ng ating mga
Meanwhile, the Independent Commission for Infrastructure has requested the Department of Justice to issue an immigration lookout bulletin order to monitor politicians and personalities under investigation for alleged corruption in flood control projects. Among those prioritized for the ILBO are former House Speaker Martin Romualdez and several lawmakers including Representatives Arjo Ataide, Nicanor Briones, Roman Romulo, Rida Robes, and others. Also included in the list are former Senate President Jesus Escudero and other incumbent and former senators, as well as several district engineers from the DPWH. The ICI has formally invited Romualdez to attend its hearing, while Saldico has been subpoenaed to appear before the commission. For Guiding Beloved Philippines, this has been Margaret Gonzalez, SMNI News.
For today's showbiz news, the Spice Girls thrilled fans with a rare public reunion as they stepped out to support Victoria Beckham at the glamorous London premiere of her new Netflix documentary. Meanwhile, a new beginning for Angelina Jolie. This Oscar-winning star is reportedly ready for a fresh start, trading red carpets for a more grounded life with her kids. Stella Maris tells us more.
It was a night of nostalgia and style at London's Curzon Mayfair on October 8 as Victoria Beckham premiered her new Netflix docuseries, Victoria Beckham. Jerry Halliwell, Emma Bunton, and Melanie C joined Beckham for the red carpet event, marking a rare reunion for the Spice Girls. Mel B was absent, but fans were thrilled to see most of the group together again. The three-part series, premiering October 9, offers a candid look at Beckham's journey from posh spice to fashion designer. It also explores her rise to fame, family life, and the challenges of building her fashion brand. The Spice Girls became global icons in the late 1990s with their debut single, Wannabe, and their message of girl power. Meanwhile, Hollywood superstar Angelina Jolie is reportedly ready for a fresh start, and it could take her far from the spotlight. After years of juggling blockbuster films, humanitarian work, and raising 6 children, Jolie is said to be planning a major move, possibly splitting her time between homes in Cambodia, France, and parts of Africa. Sources say these locations hold deep personal meaning tied to her children's birthplaces and adoption roots. The move comes as Jolie continues to focus on family life and her global humanitarian efforts following her much-publicized split from Brad Pitt. Insiders say the actress is seeing a quieter, more grounded lifestyle, one centered on her kids and causes rather than Hollywood headlines. While Jolie hasn't confirmed details, those close to her say she's excited about the new chapter, a chance to begin again on her own terms. This is Stella Maris, your citizen correspondent, bringing you the latest showbuzz.
From childhood curiosity to global fame, a Malaysian puzzler is twisting his way into history, breaking world records one Rubik's Cube at a time. Let's hear more of this story from Anissa de Guzman.
What started as a childhood curiosity for geometric puzzles has transformed into a record-shattering journey for Malaysian puzzle master Lim Kai Yi, who has broken over 100 Guinness World Records in more than 80 international events. Lim's latest achievement, solving a rotating puzzle cube in a bridge yoga position in just 27.84 seconds, is a testament to his extraordinary skill and determination. Lim explained a bridge position is a yoga pose where you have to bend backward and support yourself with one hand while solving the puzzle with the other. A very difficult one-handed Rubik's Cube solved. Since 2016, Lim has captivated puzzle enthusiasts around the world with his precision and speed. His love for the intricate movement and logic behind puzzles has propelled him to hold 66 current world titles, including some of the most challenging categories in puzzle solving. Lim added he used to be a kid who only knew how to solve a Rubik's Cube, but when he discovered Guinness World Records, he realized he could push his talent to new heights, and never thought he'd end up in the Guinness Book of World Records. Footage shot in Kuala Lumpur shows Lim effortlessly solving a Rubik's Cube with one hand, mastering various puzzle types, and proudly displaying his sea of Guinness certificates. Now the record-breaking puzzler is preparing for his next challenge, reclaiming his Guinness title for the fastest time to solve a 6-level tower of Hanoi, a complex mathematical puzzle he has already conquered 4 times. Beyond his personal triumphs, Lim also shares his expertise by coaching aspiring puzzlers both online and in person across Malaysia and China, inspiring the next generation to think outside the cube. I'm Anissa de Guzman, your global citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
The Indonesian government has moved swiftly to contain radioactive contamination in Banten province after the detection of cesium-137 in frozen shrimp exports bound for the United States triggered import restrictions and global concern. Joy Tabanao has more.
Indonesia is racing to control a radiation leak trace to the Cikande industrial area in Banten, following the discovery of cesium-137 in shrimp shipments sent to the United States. The contamination detected in August and again in gloves the following month has severely impacted the country's food exports and disrupting local livelihoods. Authorities have placed the entire Cikande zone under strict oversight, launching health checks and port inspections to prevent further spread. The Ministry of Environment confirmed that the area suspected of being the radiation source has been sealed off. Minister of Environment Hanif Faisan Nurofik assured the public that the government is actively monitoring the situation.
Jadi, sekali lagi kita memastikan bahwa produk yang keluar dari Cikande itu tidak mengandung cesium. Jadi kalau mengandung cesium langsung tertangkap di dalam alat kita langsung belokkan ke sana dikontaminasi. Ada rest area yang kita gunakan untuk mendekontaminasi menggunakan radiation wash B40 yang dimiliki oleh Brigana. Jadi kami dengan Brigana melakukan kolaborasi di dalam penanganan ini. Kebetulan ahlinya ada di Brigana dan kemudian juga dengan BRIN dan Kabupaten. Jadi ini dilakukan untuk menjamin semua truk-truk yang lewat ini wajib tidak boleh mengandung cesium.
He also reassured residents that the contamination poses no immediate danger and restricted areas are avoided.
Dia tidak menular sepanjang orang tidak lewat situ. Jadi masyarakat tidak usah khawatir. Yang penting jangan melewati titik-titik yang sudah diblok oleh pihak Polri dan KNH, Kabupaten maupun BRIN. Jadi sudah dikasih tanda itu.
Footage from the site shows trucks being scanned and cleaned under the supervision of Ministry of Environment and the Indonesian Police's Mobile Brigade Co. The incident has led the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, to require certification of Indonesian shrimp and spice exports beginning October 31. Local communities have been hit hard, with shrimp processing dropping by up to 35% and prices falling by a similar margin. Residents of Merongok say the radiation leak has left many without work.
Alhamdulillah dampaknya dengan ada radio ini, kasihan yang satu rumah satu keluarga itu kerja dengan adanya radio aktif ini, pada nggak ada yang kerja, termasuk di masyarakat saya di desa Merongok itu, gara-gara ya itu pabriknya itu kena radio tak apa gitu namanya itu, jadi kasihan gitu ke masyarakat saya.
As one of the world's top shrimp exporters, Indonesia now faces the challenge of restoring international confidence while ensuring public safety at home. Joy Tabanao, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the sun. Endurance is forged in the fires of adversity. And as we keep track of the countdown, there's only 77 days left before Christmas. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Jayne Codnita. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.